Welcome back to another episode of the Strength and Speed Podcast. I'm your host, Conquer the Gauntlet Pro Team member Evan Preparis, and joining me as always is Brenna Calvert.
Hello, everyone.
This episode is just me and Brenna, and it is brought to you by Mudgear. You may know Mudgear from their socks from OCRWC. They're also the official socks of Conquer the Gauntlet, and if you check their website, there's something exciting. Brenna, you want to fill us in?
Oh, man, I'm super excited about this one. Yes, so we actually just debuted them pretty much recently in the first race at CTG Houston. They're our new Conquer the Gauntlet official Mudgear socks, and they have an amazing lion. The Conquer the Gauntlet CTG lion logo is right on the front, and it's the amazing green that you know from Mudgear, the same awesome compression socks, but they just look a little bit more, special for out on the course. And I got to see them at the Houston race, and then I actually saw other people wearing them at another race already, and I can't wait to get my hands on a pair of that. But make sure you do use, we have a code for you guys, CTG Strong, so that's CTGSTRONG is 10% off online orders of Mudgear socks, so definitely check them out.
Yeah, I can't wait to get myself a pair of the Lion ones. I have the regular Mudgear socks right now, and they also sell on their website some other stuff, some jerseys and some gloves. And I use their gloves. They have a company called Mad Grip that makes pretty good gloves. I use them for ultra-OCR, so when I do those 8-hour races or 24-hour races, or when I was doing OCR America, my 7-day event, those Mad Grip gloves saved my hands, because for 7 days of 8 hours of obstacle course racing a day, my hands were pretty tore up. So if you're looking for good gloves, check those out. And check out some stocks. This episode, we're going to be talking, just me and Brenna, talking about some of the recent races we did, including Green Beret Challenge, Spartan Race, Mighty Mud Dash. We're going to cover a little bit of terrain relay. Going to cover a little bit of an injury I've been overcoming over the last couple weeks. And then we'll talk about 2 big trips we have coming up, which we'll save to the end of the episode, so you have to listen to the whole thing. Sorry.
Yeah, teaser right there. Hook 'em in.
Yeah. So, all right, let's start off, Brenna. Just we'll start kind of catch up. So I think it was the first race of your year was Green Beret Challenge, right?
I believe, well, I guess yes and no. The first one I did was technically Spartan in California in January. But I don't really count that because I DNF'd and kind of messed up I hyperextended my knee. I think we might have mentioned that briefly. I don't know. So it wasn't a big deal, but I did that, and then I don't really count that. So officially, Green Beret Challenge, that was their operator course in Central Texas. That was February. Came in 3rd place there, and so I did that. I guess I count that because, that one wasn't a DNF. But that was more my style. It was heavy carries and mandatory obstacles and fun stuff like that.
Well, the first race of the season is just, clearing out the cobwebs, so we'll count that as a bye.
It was definitely some cobwebs,
So I've done one Green Beret Challenge before, but it wasn't like a race. It was more of a team-building format. So we had teams of 4, and we were doing a lot of carries and contraption building. But this was a straight-up race, like a straight-up OCR, right?
Yeah. So Mark Ballas changed it. Originally, the first format he did was the 4-man team, and it was all team challenge, heavy carries, just crazy endurance, things like that. Now he has a few different lengths and distances, or you would say, and this one was the operator course. And so it's actually, I guess he calls it like hybrid OCR. So it's OCR, a race, we had timing chips. There was an elite wave, competitive wave that took off. And, one person, no teams. You were all for yourself. And it had obstacles that you know of and you're familiar with, like walls and rope climbs and balance obstacles, and he had rope traverse and the weaver and things like that. But he also threw in his known for carries and kind of made it the endurance part. So, imagine like Spartan bucket carry on steroids in a way. I think he had 3 different ones, and so he did his, like, people saw him. It was things you saw from the team challenge, but dubbed down for an individual. So the, like, double yoke carry. So you had a big bar that rested on your back, shoulders, and, you know, heavy sandbags that you had to balance and carry. And pretty sure it was like a quarter mile, if not more, to half mile for each of the carries during the race. So that was taxing. But he had 3. I don't even remember what the other 2 were. Oh, there was just not like, it reminded me of jerry cans meet sandbags. He had these like burlap or felt bags in a way, or they were kind of just like those portable, reusable, recyclable grocery sacks in a way, but with short handles, and it was filled with rocks and just the earth. And we had to carry 2 of those, kind of like a jerry can style, you know, down at your waist carry. And it was a sled drag. That was another fun one. So it was just like in the mix of the terrain and the race and obstacles, those carries were thrown in there. So it's awesome. I love it for people that love hurricane heat or team challenges or rucks and go ruck, things like that. I recommend Green Beret Challenge for sure.
Cool. Sounds fun. I like the kind of his take on OCR and putting a lot of heavy carries in there. I think that's an interesting take there. I think most of them are at the beginning of the year, right? The operator style races. Is that right?
Yeah, and so he actually, I was going to say, depending on when this airs, I think this probably will air soon, maybe just before, but April 15th, coming up in Perry, Georgia, just south of Atlanta, he has another operator course, and it's at the Guardian Center, which is an amazing venue. It's where the CDC does survivor and like disaster relief testing. So it's this venue that's got, and like the fire department uses it for training, but it's a venue with built cities that are flooded and crashed, broken down buildings. And there's like a subway system with crash rail cars that you go through and flipped over cars. And it's just this crazy venue, and he puts the OCR on there. So I actually did the team challenge there last year, I think maybe. But
yeah,
this time but this time it's the operator course. And so you get to like, I wish I could go. I don't know. I might swing it. But basically you're running through this city and flooded city, and he uses the water, but then he's going to have his obstacles thrown in there too and his carries. So it's pretty exciting. I'm jealous if I don't make it.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. I remember I don't know if you put up pictures or maybe one of the Mud Run Guide or someone put up a video or something of it last year, but it looks awesome. It's like running through the set of The Walking Dead. You know,
exactly.
There's like cars everywhere, and it's just insane. Or like that earthquake ride at Universal Studios, if anyone's been to Florida or California. That's what it reminds me of.
Yeah, so. It's worth going just for the venue alone. It's very cool.
I definitely want to make it down there at one point. Because very unique experience. What else? So you also this past weekend you ran in the Mighty Mud Dash. So
yes,
I'd never heard of that.
Well, I hadn't heard of it either.
So let's talk a little bit about that one.
Well, yeah, so that's what, we love this podcast is all about, the smaller race series. And so this one, it was really cool. I actually was told about it from the Lone Star Spartans, one of the Texas race groups. Buddy there told me, I'm from Houston, and I was recently, just last year, moved back to Houston. And he was like, yeah, you should sign up for the Mighty Mud Dash next spring. It's at the Sam Houston Raceway Park. And I'm just thinking, that's like actual Houston, in the city. So I'm kind of like, wow, how have I missed this? And apparently it's been going on for years, is what he said. And I just think, okay, whatever, sure, I'll sign up. And he told me about it. There was a $500 prize. And I'm thinking, okay, for a second, third. And he's like, no, first place, $500. And then there wasn't prize for anything else. And he goes, no one shows up. I'm thinking, okay, fun. I like a new race anyways, but even better. Like, why not go for $500? And so it was, April 1st. And I didn't know what to expect. Mighty Mud Dash, the name itself, not to lie or, I want to be honest, I kind of was expecting or just like a fun mud run and just kind of so-so obstacles. And it was just going to be, more for the first timers is what I was expecting.
Yeah, from the name, I would assume the same thing.
Yeah, and I looked at the website and looked at the pictures, and it's nothing crazy, but they talk about there's a competitive wave, and they have timing chips, and prize money and it talks about vendors and, has all the normal stuff that I think of for elite if I'm competing. But again, I was just skeptical on like what the obstacles were. And I think when I was reading the rules, it sounded like they went for mandatory obstacle completion. But I've also heard, smaller races, sometimes they say that, or like even Warrior Dash or whatever, or Rugged Maniac, they say mandatory and then people just like try once and blow through the obstacles. So
yeah, I've been to races where I've seen the guy in front of me cheat and told the race director, and they're like, yeah, people do that. And it's like, what?
Yeah.
I was like, I thought it was mandatory completion. He's like, it is. I was like, so is he going to get disqualified? It's like, nah. Like, I don't want to cause any waves. It's like, ugh. But anyway, yeah. I won't mention that race's name. But that's another story.
Well, yeah. So initially that was my thought. I just didn't know what to expect. So, show up, and again, it's at a like very big race park in Houston that's used for all different kinds of events. So, lots of parking there. Festival area was nice and laid out. They have like lockers and bag check and easy registration check-in. All the normal things you would see at a race. And then what really caught my eyes where I started to get excited was I'm looking and you can kind of see a good array of obstacles. And they had metal trussing, and if anybody doesn't know what I'm talking about, the actual, square metal frames that you see a lot more now in races, like Spartan Race, a lot of the rigs, and Savage Race, the rigs, and our monkey bars that conquer the gauntlet, and things like that. It caught my eye, and I thought, oh, wow. They actually, structurally, just looking at some of the obstacles, I can kind of see, and I started looking, and I was like, oh, there's a rope traverse, like Tyrolean traverse, with trussing, and like, oh wait, there's a rope climb, and so I was like, okay, this could be fun, I'm like getting psyched up that it, could be a little bit more than just crawling through the mud run. And they do like a little elite rules and did say that it was mandatory obstacles and that they were gonna follow and track specifically like the first 3 males and female up to the obstacles and through, because basically they only really are looking for the first one officially clean through everything. So we take off, and yeah, they had it's co-owned by 2 friends, 2 guys, and they have 6 of their really close buddies, I guess they use for kind of obstacle attendants-ish that help and follow the elite wave in a way. And the race, they had a rope. What was it? Tarzan swing. This was the one that was kind of a oops. A big knotted rope that you swing over a mud pit, and they had nylon rope to pull it back, so once you went through, the person had to pull it back.
Right. Well,
the obstacle attendants, they didn't know any better, but as you went across it, they're like, watch out for the rope, but they were holding on to it. So you'd get across, and as they wouldn't let go, and it just jerked you, and a lot of us got jerked by it initially. And we had to tell people let go of the rope, we'll bring it back.
Yeah.
But it was really good. They had that. They had a ring, a rig with rings to go across. They did have an element of fun. Was a inflatable, a climb up the back and then slide down, inflatable slide. Funniest thing, there was 6 of us from the competitive wave talking at the end, and all of us were I hated that inflatable slide. It was so slippery. The elites couldn't do the inflatable slide because it really was slippery. I'm not gonna lie. I had to grip on really tight to the little clench my nails into the inflatable slide part.
You have to go. Oh yeah, you have to go up it. I don't understand.
Yeah, so it's in a almost like a slip wall, or just what would be a ladder kind of. It has little inflatable rungs almost on it, but it had water spraying down it. And my Innovate shoes are just slipping off the rung. And there was a guy that actually was at Conquer the Gauntlet Houston the weekend before. He was running in the elite wave, and we were all giggling at the end. He was like, yeah, that was the worst part. I slid down it and had to really hang on tight.
That'd be demoralizing when you show up and it's yeah, I lost my band at the obstacle. I'm oh, which one? It was it was the slide. I couldn't make it up. It was too hard.
Which slide? We don't have a slide. And they're oh wait, you mean the inflatable thing?
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So element of fun. They had There was mud, Mighty Mud Dash. They had these awesome mud mound mogul pits. So I mean, imagine, like a big pit you have to jump in, but there was like 4 of them, and the dirt was really hard. And or maybe there's 5. I don't know. I swear halfway through, I was gassed and thinking like, oh my gosh, how many more pits do I have to go through? So that was exciting. And I'd been told there was no carry, and they were wrong. So whoever went last year, I guess, they've amped it up. They had a double sandbag carry, which really excited me because I saw the guy in front of me go pick up 2 sandbags. And I just thought he was showing off. So I walk up and I'm like, 1 or 2, just because I'm used to them having 2 for the guys and 1 for the girl. And the attendant told me 2, and I was just like, yes, like the girl really can't catch up to me now. Like these are heavy sandbags.
That's pretty serious for a little race.
I know. So they did that, and they had what? Oh, there was a kind of warp wall and a slick slant wall, and then they actually had a version of the floating walls from OCRWC, but originally from Indian Mud Run. So there was a set of floating walls to little horizontal pipes on like a rig that you had to hit a bell at the end. And I mean, what else? Rope climb. Yeah, they had it all really. I was very thoroughly impressed. And then to like give a spoiler. So this race, I talked to the owners afterwards, and, they were really awesome on feedback and wanted to know, they said, like what should they get rid of or what should they improve on? And we told them about the whole little, pulling of the rope thing, and they actually fixed that like immediately. Like right after we went through, they told them to start letting go of the rope, which was nice. But rumor has it that they have a version of Wheel World. So anybody that's done Savage Race, the like spinning wheels that you traverse across, the guys at Mighty Mud Dash have that and will be using it in their next race. They actually do 2 events a year. So that's something to look forward to. I got to take a little sneak peek at it and look at it in their storage unit.
Nice.
Yeah. So, I mean, for a small, they do 2 events a year, and they've been doing it for, I think, 5 or 6 years now. And they're adding, I guess they go to other races and see what else people like, and they're adding it into their races. So it's growing and evolving, which is awesome to see for a small venue and small local race. But, I would travel for it. And they talked about spreading out the prize money maybe next year, to like first, second, third to get more people to come for it. But all of those things are, in my opinion, if you're competing, and then even as open waivers, it was all everything you look for in an OCR.
Yeah, that sounds great. I know personally I'm not a big fan of the first place gets everything and second place and third gets nothing, because I have come in second place more than once where it was like, all right, first place got $1,000 and second place got nothing, and I was like, are you kidding me? Like, come on, like give me like $10, like, just to me, it's just like the thought that counts, really,
I don't want to say too much, but yeah, you had that recently, right?
Yeah, I did. And we'll talk about it a little. So I did a terrain race relay, the 24-hour one this past weekend, and my team did really well. Team was strength and speed. Some of you listened to the Miles Keller episode. Miles Keller was on my team, and I had Ryan Owen. Ryan, I remembered your last name this time, and Chris Polito. And we did really well. Kept a consistent pace. Started closing in on first a couple times. Got them as close as 6 minutes ahead of us. And then they pulled away. And we got close again. They pulled away. We got close again. And then right around hour 20, they pulled away, and we couldn't come back. And then we go to the podium ceremony, and we're all in high spirits. We came in second. And they're like, all right, third place is here. Second place is strength and speed. Third place is Phoenix Evolution, is a training group in Phoenix. Second place was strength and speed. First place was the A team, the couple of great local Phoenix OCR athletes. And then we weren't expecting prize money because they didn't advertise in advance, right? So I wasn't expecting that, but I was expecting like the standard, giant monkey medals that Terrain gives out for podium prizes, right? Because like, at a 5K, they give out these giant monkey medals. So I was like, okay, cool, I'll get my big monkey medal. And they get up there, and they're like, here's first place's monkey medals. And I was like, cool. And then it's like, and the award ceremony's over. And I was like, oh, what the you haven't slept in, at that point it had been like 30 hours. And I've ran about 50 miles. I was like, oh, this is, I was like overreacting. I mean, I kept it calm in front of most people. I was venting to my teammates, but yeah, it's just like the thought that counts. Like I appreciate you trying real hard.
Well, exactly. And I mean, second place is already hard enough. Like when you're gunning for something and you get first and you get second, it's just like, okay, wow, it's a 24-hour event, and a little pat on the back and a big monkey medal would be great. But no.
Right, yeah, and I would have been happy with that. I've been very happy with that. Yeah, so first place got the monkey medals, and then I was joking around later. I was like, well, we should have spent our time taking Instagram pictures because they gave away a free race entry to people taking Instagram pictures if you had the best Instagram picture at the event. So I was like, maybe we wasted our time.
They're back to karaoke. Might as well just have a karaoke contest.
Yeah, that's exactly what it reminded me of. So for those of you who aren't aware, Battle Frog did an event last year when they were still around, and they had a karaoke contest at the same day as their elite race. And I think the winner of the karaoke contest made more money than it was second or third place of the elite race. I can't remember which one it was. The internet blew up with in the OCR world, right? Because how dare you reward someone for not what you showed up like 99% of the people are there for. So justifiable.
It added some humor.
Yeah.
Well, so, okay, you briefly, I know we're going to have probably more of the team on later, so I don't want to go into too much detail of how much y'all rocked and did awesome, of course. But so I've done some racing, but, I mean, you haven't done too much. I take that back. You did, too much for you, I guess. You did a Ragnar relay prior to terrain, correct?
Yep.
But you've also been injured, right? So how, what have you been racing, and how have you been, racing around your injury, and what is your injury?
Yeah. So it's February 2nd or 3rd. I went to the gym doing some weighted dips. Put a little too much weight on there. Went down. Felt something rip in my chest/arm. And I typically don't like telling people how much weight I was doing with dips because it sounds ridiculous. But I did 90 pounds and I did a set of 9, right? And then I added more weight and I went down on the second one and something ripped. So my first, I would say, quote unquote, real injury. So I actually have it on videotape. So I felt something rip and I dropped down and I'm touching my arm and chest because I expect to see a muscle rolled up. Because when your muscle, if it completely rips off the tendon or the bone, it'll actually roll up and it'll bunch up at one point. So I'm touching my arm. There's nothing there. It looks normal, but I can feel my arm tingling all the way down to my wrist. And I was like, oh my god, what did I do? Fast forward the weekend, it's clearly I've done some damage, but it took about 48 hours for it to actually start bruising. And what I'd actually done was I had a partial tear in my outer pec, right? So where your chest muscle attaches to your upper arm is where it started ripping, and it was right where, not on the tendon and not on the muscle, but kind of right where they overlap. So it doesn't clear, there's not a clear delineation between the tendon and the muscle. They kind of intertwine. So it started ripping there, and that tingling I was feeling, I'm pretty sure was blood running down the inside of my arm, because for the next month I had a big black and blue on my bicep, and people be like, oh, what happened to your bicep? And it's well, it's actually my chest. That's where the blood's pooling. The blood's pooling on my bicep. I
don't know about y'all listening, but that just gave me goosebumps because I saw the picture. I mean, it was pretty black and blue. It was lovely.
Yeah. But I wrote an article on Strength and Speed a while ago that said basically it says I train through everything, and true to my word, I did train through everything. I obviously stopped lifting upper body for a couple of weeks, completely. About a month, I don't think I did any sort of upper body training. So no rig training, no climbing, no weight training. I did go to a physical therapist, got checked out. They did an MRI to make sure it wasn't too serious. And then had some kind of interesting recovery techniques that I had never, because I've never been really that seriously injured. that I got to experience. So one of them is called dry needling. So some people, so when I say the term dry needling, a lot of people think of acupuncture, right? So acupuncture is like you stick needles in your body, right? And, you're sticking needles on like your shoulder or your back, and it's supposed to alleviate some sort of stress or problem you're having someplace else in your body.
Right.
So dry needling, what they do is they actually like feel around the muscle, and they feel where the muscle is like tightened or bunched up, and they take a needle and they poke it into your muscle until they touch the nerve, right? And then whatever nerve they touch, that part of the body, flinches. It like jerks. And it's supposed to relax that muscle after it pokes the nerve. So, and my physical therapist is like squeezing my chest, and he's like poking me with needles. So that was an interesting experience. I guess I'm a masochist because I thought it was fun. I was like,
I was going to say, would you recommend that to people?
it's supposed to like alleviate some of the pain. I don't know. I don't think it really helped or hurt. I was kind of open to it just because, again, I like new things, and I, as someone who does a lot of research on training, I was curious to feel what it felt like. So I think we did like 2 sessions. They just poke it a couple times.
But so that's what you're saying. I mean, as a method of recovery or training, you don't think it necessarily did much?
I don't feel like I don't know. I don't necessarily feel like it sped recovery. Some people, I've heard it makes people feel better because it loosens up a knotted muscle.
Like kind of more of like a quick, almost just like a quicker fix or a quick temporary fix.
Like a quick pain relief fix.
Yeah.
So,
interesting.
Yeah. So that was one of the things we did. And then the other thing we did, which I think some people will find interesting, is called BFR, blood flow restriction training. So, again, here's the concept. So if you cut off blood flow to an extremity, like your arm or your leg, and then you essentially exercise with lower blood flow there, instead of using aerobic energy production, you're going to have to switch to anaerobic energy production. So you can get a similar physiological response, like using heavy weights, but with using lower weight. So the idea is if on an injured muscle, like on your arm or leg, you cut off the blood flow, and then you can create the same response without putting the same stress through your tendons and through your joints. I know, there's a lot of legitimate research that backs that works for recovery, especially to injuries. I know from a bodybuilding background, there's a bunch of bodybuilders who, again, they want to get the biggest muscles possible, and they also have joint problems, because they're lifting all these heavy weights. So I know they do it. They've done it in the past, and I've actually read about it years ago. But this is the first time I've done it. Kind of the big difference
with yours, well, just because I know, I remember from where. Kind of, was your injury in a spot? Was it difficult to be able to cut the blood flow off right there? Because, was it your shoulder and you were able to, what did you actually do for that?
Yeah, so so it mainly works, quote unquote, downstream of the cuff, right? So mine is upstream of the cuff. So the highest I can get the cuff is essentially my upper arm. So the physical therapist, he's like, yeah, there's some upstream effects. So, you'll get some effects for the first inch or two above the cuff, which is where my injury was, essentially inch or two above the cuff. So he's like, we can try it. He's like, it's not going to hurt anything. So I was like, yeah, let's do it. So it's basically you put on this blood pressure cuff and you set it to, for your arms it was 50% return. If we were doing legs, it'd be 80% occlusion, so cutting off the blood flow 80%. And then you do I started off with push-ups on my knees. And then I would do lateral raises and front raises and some bicep curls with real lightweight, it's 10 pounds. And a month after the injury, I would do 30 push-ups on my knees and be shaking. I couldn't do it. And then last week I did 30 push-ups regular with the cuff on.
Oh, wow.
Pretty interesting.
Yeah. That's good for research knowledge and for those that just like different ideas of, recovery methods. So
the other, I guess the warning I should put out, right, is again, the typical don't try this at home. So the blood pressure cuff reads your blood pressure and adjusts as you're training, right? So it's controlling how much blood is coming back through your arm and through your body. Like the poor man's method would be like, oh, I'll just throw a tourniquet on or throw a elastic bandage around my leg and then train. Like the problem with that again is you don't know how much you're actually occluding. You're putting a very the blood pressure cuff's fairly wide, right? So it's 4 or 5 inches of compression.
Right.
If you were tying a tourniquet, it would be like a half an inch of compression. So it's really like putting a lot of stress at a single point on the muscle. So a little bit of danger there. Not the best idea to just go start wrapping your limbs in, stopping blood flow. But the other funny part is, right? So I'm in the physical therapy office and I'm doing 5 or 10 pound curls. My left arm looks completely normal because it doesn't have the blood cuff on, and my right arm is purple and red, and all my veins are sticking out, and I'm I'm sweaty and grunting, and the guy who's laying down next to me, in a pair of compression pants, just is what is going on? Because my arm's it's purple, and I'm oh, this 10 pounds, it's killing me. So.
And you definitely look like you can lift more than 10 pounds. So.
Yeah. So that's been kind of the last couple of my weeks, just kind of recovering from that, and then basically my physical therapist again. I kind of explained who I am and what I do, and he's like, yeah, you can train, just don't, if it hurts, don't do that. So I was like, cool. So I ran a 50K. It was 2 weeks after I injured it, and I basically kept running from the day after I injured it forward. I know for a while I didn't do intervals just because a lot of jerking motion on the arm, but I'm pretty much back to normal now. The only thing I haven't done is real explosive stuff. So I haven't, I usually do laches or flying monkeys when you hop from bar to bar as part of my training, and I haven't started doing that again yet. So. But
you were okay? So you felt good with the 24-hour relay? You did good on all the obstacles and stuff?
Yeah, so I did primarily the speed section, so I didn't use my upper body that much. There's a video of me on my Facebook page where I'm going over walls, and you can see I always lead with my strong arm now. So I'm always leading with the left because I was worried about the right, because I heard it in a dip motion, which is very similar to the top of the wall motion.
Yeah.
And then I did the strength section once. No issues there. There was some push-ups in the strength section, so I can feel it. It feels like it's pulling on my arm, but it doesn't hurt. And then I went across a couple of rigs on the technique section, and again I felt a little bit of pulling, but it wasn't necessarily painful. So I was just gonna be careful, and I got Savage Race coming up this weekend, so I should be fine.
Oh my gosh! I forgot that I get to see you.
Yeah, I see you in 48 hours. So
I totally forgot about that. Yay!
So I got Savage Race coming this weekend. So if I start feeling pain or whatever, I just let's take it easy from that point on. But I think I'm back.
Oh my gosh! Speaking of Savage Race this weekend, so they've got some new stuff.
Yeah, they're gonna keep that Twin Peaks in there. I imagine.
Okay, so I've seen a picture. It's there, but it's actually moved further apart. So you have more space than we do at the Five Walls in Conco the Gauntlet. So
okay.
They spaced it out so we won't have a repeat of Florida. But there's I haven't looked at the videos, and Alex Walker's been getting me all psyched out, and she looks at all the videos and obstacles one by one, and but I haven't looked at their new twirly whirly bird or something. It looks like in the picture, maybe it's the wrong one. I could get the names all mixed up. Who knows? But there's another rig-ish thing, and it's got bungees on it. I don't know. It looks pretty cool, and I don't know. I heard there's another grip something. It's pretty grip heavy-ish now. And
really?
The first obstacle is the ice bath. Woo! That's Shriveled Richard.
All right. Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
It's gonna be exciting. When was the last Savage you did?
Never. So this is my first one.
You've never done Savage Race?
No, it just didn't. The timing didn't work out well.
Oh my gosh, listeners, those listening, I hope everybody Savage Race is up there as, obviously, I know, and y'all know my favorite is Conquer the Gauntlet, but Savage Race is a close second. Like, their obstacles are awesome and epic, and obviously this will be airing after the race. But, I mean, definitely got to check them out. And that's what I keep hearing more and more people that haven't done it, and I know schedules are hard with everybody, but Savage is worth going to for, like, they do awesome awards for competitive. Their prize is $1,000, $500, $250, plus the Awesome Axe Award. They do age group awards, like actual cool medals for the age groups. They have a badass Savage Syndicate medal. So, like, if you've done multiple venues or cities, you get an extra big medal with a pin to add to it. I mean, for people that love their bling, Savage Race is really cool to go to. And then obstacles are mandatory completion, so amazing. I'm super excited. Yay.
That is exciting. Yeah, I think the age group medals are awesome. That's definitely, I like, hopefully that it kind of expands to the sport a little more, you know, because I think, again, with racing, I think most people are doing it for, you know, it's a manifestation of hard work, right? So you put in weeks, months, or years of hard work, and being recognized for that hard work is in the form of a medal or something like that is a nice touch. So, you know, some of us may never reach the top step of the overall, but yeah, there's definitely a lot to be said about, you know, being able to win your age group or, you know, podium in your age group or just working towards that goal. I think that's a nice, you know, kind of intermediate goal for people. So I know, like, my first quote unquote, like, award medals, not just participation medals, were age group awards from running 5Ks and 10Ks, where it's like, you know, you won or placed in your age group, here's a medal. And I was like, it's like, I placed in my age group? That's weird. Never happened before.
Makes you feel good, though.
Yeah. So, but you know, that kind of sparked some more of the competitive drive and made me train harder. At that point, like, after that couple of those, I was like, oh, like, you know, I should be, you know, winning or podium in my age group, so I would train harder to make sure, like, I always kind of went for that goal. And then eventually that bleeds over into overalls, and that's a long time, a lot of miles on my feet to get there. But yeah,
hard work. Well,
yeah.
So other than this coming up for both of us, Savage Race, I mean, you mentioned it at the beginning of the podcast. You know, we're getting towards the end, but divulge a little bit more of what we have, some cool trips coming up. I mean, you, me, and others, but you and I get to do some really exciting stuff coming up this summer.
We do. We have 2 international races planned. The first, I'm very excited about both of them, frankly. First one is right up my specialty, though. So we are doing, well, I guess Brenna's on a team doing it as a relay, right? Is that correct?
Well, yeah. So briefly, since you're surprised me with this recently, but yeah. So I am part of the Sisu Like a Girl team. Last year, I went to the UK and did the rat race. This year, the team is made up of 4 new athletes: Heather Ferguson, Allie Tucker, Sarah Watson, and Nicola Callison, I believe, might be from Australia. I think I have to double check, but they're basically going to be doing the relay, and myself, Amy, Booth, and Phoebe will be support and or maybe kind of like pacing with and doing it with them, because some of them haven't done a relay style 24-hour event. So we're kind of going as veterans and help and support. And now I'm excited to say I get to help and kind of like be part of your crew too, maybe, right?
That's right. So I'm going out and doing True Grit Enduro 24. It's just outside of Sydney, Australia. 24-hour long race. I think this is like the 4th or 5th year it's been going on, so it's veteran race. And yeah, I'm just super excited about it. I just signed up last week. I was gonna surprise you on the podcast, but I couldn't control myself, and I sent you a message with my registration. So
I know, I'm super excited, and so everybody listening, y'all just get ready. That's in June? When is that one? June 10th?
It's right around the corner. So
I know, it really is.
We're in 2 months.
So we'll be going live from Strength and Speed, Red Beast, Conquer the Gauntlet Pro Team will be live from Australia.
Yeah, and for those of you who want to know more about the race, we're going to have Timothy Oliver. He's an Australian obstacle course racer. I think he finished 5th at World's Toughest Mudder this year with 95 miles. And he's also done True Grit Enduro 24 a couple times. So we're going to get him on the podcast pretty soon as we can figure out the 18-hour time difference between the two of us. And that makes scheduling a little bit more challenging. But we're going to get him on the podcast. He's going to compare the True Grit to World's Toughest Mudder and talk about some of the obstacles and the different experience. And then he'll also talk about his training because 95 miles is a lot. And it's one more lap than I did, so I'm always curious to pick his brain.
Got to beat, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm going to his backyard this time, so I don't know how that's going to go. But June in Australia is winter, right?
It's cold, yeah.
Southern Hemisphere.
Cold. I'm not looking forward to it. Dry robes.
Yeah, so dry robes and wetsuits there'll be plenty of those. So.
Awful.
So that's one big trip. That's June, and then in July, I'm also really excited about this.
Oh yeah.
Brenna, you want to tell people where we're going?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, this is super excited. Evan and I are both going together. Actually, this is a planned trip together to Lebanon for Hannibal Race.
That's right.
Can we reveal? Are we allowed to reveal what we just heard?
Yeah.
They are.
Which part?
Oh no, you go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say. So I've done a Hannibal Race once before when I was in Lebanon last year. It's like I can't remember the distance. I think it's like 7K race. It's got some fun obstacles, monkey bars and warped wall and low crawl and some carries and some other. I think they added a rope climb last year. So Hannibal Race is the only obstacle course race in Lebanon. So they're, while in America we have a whole bunch of stuff, it's like Hannibal Race is it. It's Lebanon. Oh, I know what you were going to say, Brenna. Are we allowed to say that? I'm not sure.
I don't know. Never mind. We got a spoiler. Y'all have to stay tuned.
Okay. Hopefully it'll be out by then. But Hannibal Race. I'll just put it this way: Hannibal Race upcoming in the obstacle course racing world scene. How's that?
There you go.
We'll go with that. So we're gonna be hanging out with the owner, Amin Dib. We're gonna get him on the podcast later too. He's like a local fitness celebrity in Lebanon, right? So like Billy Blanks in the U.S. or I don't know, any of those kind of fitness celebrities who kind of made their name off, fitness DVDs and stuff like that. He's kind of similar to that, but in Lebanon. He had his own TV. I think he's had like 2 or 3 TV shows on Lebanon. So when I was actually there, I'm walking down the street with Amin, right? And I don't really understand who he is. I'm like, oh, Amin, nice guy, owns Hannibal Race, right? Yeah. We're walking down the street, leaving dinner, and like random people are coming up to him, like asking for fitness advice. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? I was like, who are these people? He's like, I don't know. I was like, what? So
who are you?
Yeah, so that was pretty funny. And then at one point I introduced him to two of my Lebanese friends I had made while there, and they looked at me like I was an idiot. They're like, yeah, I know who Amin is, and I was like, right, I think everyone knows who Amin is. So I'm like, I'm such an idiot.
This is just so exciting though. I can't believe. I mean, it's a goal every year I have set since last year. I'm like, okay, I want to travel, try new countries. And I was so excited to get to be part of CSU again this year to do Australia. And then when you kind of brought this up and pitched the idea, I mean, let's travel with you here and be part of the team. And it's so exciting. I can't wait. So we're going to have lots of coverage again to bring everybody that race, right?
Yep, I'll definitely do some live from Conquer the Gauntlet Pro Team, Strength and Speed, and Mud Run Guide. A little bit of all that.
Yeah.
And Amin also has his own gym in downtown Beirut, so we'll do a kind of a live session from there, just like we've done from Obstacle Athletics on Long Island and from Conquer Fitness in Tulsa. So.
Oh man, you didn't tell me that. This is so exciting.
Oh, now you know. Now you know. So that's coming down the pipe. That's going to be awesome. Definitely going to be a cool experience. Lebanon's a beautiful country. I think most people have not been there, but
Yeah, it's definitely, let's just say it wasn't one of those places that I was like, hey, I want to visit there one day. So I'm excited to add it to my list of adventures for sure, especially OCR adventure related.
Yeah, it's so I've been around a couple of countries in the Middle East, and it's literally its own place. Like it's unlike anything I've ever seen before. It's pretty spectacular. So very westernized. Starbucks and all that stuff, but also like a ton of, as opposed to like chain restaurants, a lot of the restaurants are locally owned. So I thought the food there was just phenomenal. It is a little expensive,
man.
but
Exciting. Everybody's going to want to go now. Once we tell them all about it, they'll want to be there.
yeah.
Well, so before we ramble too much longer, and we could go forever, you and me, I think. But what else? I mean, briefly, besides our exciting trips coming up, do you have some things happening soon? I mean, you said Savage Race will probably already have happened, but any other races coming up in the next couple weeks, month for you?
I got Warrior Dash Tennessee coming up. I'm gonna probably do some mud run guide coverage from there, maybe a Snapchat. And my first quote unquote A race for the season is Toughest Mudder, which is at the end of April. Toughest Mudder Atlanta. So I'm actually going to Atlanta like 3 times over the next month between Savage, Toughest Mudder, and then Conquer the Gauntlet. I'll be there 3 times. So if you want to book, my book, Strength and Speed Guide to Elite Obstacle Course Racing, hit me up, and I will bring one for you so you don't have to pay for shipping. That's makes it a lot easier.
There you go. Man, and I love Atlanta for races. It's like everything. Speaking of...
we're going to Medieval Times this weekend. I'm going to Medieval Times this weekend.
Is that...
Which I'm super excited about.
I think I did it once since I live here, because that's like right down... that's where I'm staying, is right around there. Anyways, y'all are going to love that. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
But speaking of Atlanta and Conquer the Gauntlet, so yeah, we will be here May 13th, doing our first Atlanta race, so that's really, really exciting. But tell people, like, I don't know, we're kind of new for the Conquer the Gauntlet Pro Team. We're kind of doing something different in the festival area. You want to tell people a little bit about the tent that we have going on and where you can get their book there too and stuff, right?
Yep. So we're going to have a Conquer the Gauntlet Pro Team tent in the festival area. It's good for... one, we'll have books for sale. We got Conquer the Gauntlet Pro Team stickers. We got Conquer the Gauntlet Pro Team patches with and without Velcro. We have you'll be able to see some of our various sponsors. Some of the stuff we can give out for free. Some of the stuff you can look at. Some of the stuff you can buy. So kind of a mix of everything, right? So free beat performer if you're looking for some pre or post race beat juice. You can pick that up there. And if you want to just see some of the products that, a lot of the Conquer the Gauntlet Pro Team sponsors have given us and, we use for training, including Harbinger Fitness, their weight training apparel, their atomic climbing holds, stuff like that, which will also be on some of the Conquer the Gauntlet rigs. So what else? Or mud gear socks or Marina Sport, compression gear. What else am I missing?
Rock tape, usually if, I don't know, I myself, I'm not really good at it, but we usually, some of us as athletes, we're all hanging out there. We have our rock tape too, because that's one of our sponsors. So, if you have questions or need help, some of y'all are pretty good at taping up and helping out others with that. But it's also just around, we're trying something new just for you guys listening, athletes, to come hang out and say hey to the pro team and the CTG family, and then also just, any of the other, a lot of the elites kind of hang out and give training tips, and then we take everybody, go back out on course. So it's kind of like a rendezvous point to, if you see someone that you want to go back out on course with, check us out. We'll be there throughout the festival doing whatever, yes, having fun, meeting y'all.
So be social. Don't awkwardly stand around in the middle of the field kind of doing nothing. Come over and hang out with us, because if you like to talk about OCR, we obviously like to talk about OCR. So come over, hang out. Yeah. And then we probably should wrap it up because we've been rambling on for about 50 minutes almost.
Oh man, I guess that's enough of us for the episode, huh?
Yeah.
Well, it's been fun. I love when we get to have these moments of just you and me kind of shooting the shit, talking about stuff coming up, and giving out secrets and all the good stuff, details of all the fun OCR community. But we'll have guests coming up soon. Exciting things happening.
Cool. Anyone you want to give a shout out to or thank or talk about before we take off?
No, I mean, I'm good. I just love the community. Thanks for everybody listening and tuning in. I know sometimes different things you might not want to hear, but keep sharing and spreading the word about the podcast. I talk to different people daily that don't know about us yet, so I appreciate those that have listened and spread the word, and thank you for continuing to subscribe to us. We're loving it and having a good time, so we hope you are too.
Yeah. If you are enjoying the show a lot, that we do have a donation PayPal thing set up on the Team Strength and Speed podcast portion of the site. So just head over there and just throw us a $1 or $2. Or if you want to throw us more, I'm cool with that too. But really, I think it's the thought that counts. That hey, we appreciate what you're doing, and this podcasting is not free. I do have to pay for maintaining the site and stuff like that. So throw a couple of bucks in if you enjoy what you're hearing. I do have some free content, obviously available on TeamStrengthSpeed.com. Some articles there. Definitely check that out. Muttering Guy just released another one of my articles called "In Search of Mecca," talking about where the Mecca of OCR is, or where it can be or where it should be. So you can look at that. And then finally, I'll just give with Terrain Race that had just passed, definitely want to give a shout out to Dry Robe and Hammer Nutrition. So Dry Robe was freaking awesome in between laps because you'd finish up and it would be 60 degrees and your body's cooling down, and getting back in that Dry Robe was awesome. So I literally put it on after every lap. And then Hammer Nutrition, obviously, because fueling for ultra endurance requires a special set of nutrition products. So drank a lot of Perpetuum, carb, fat, protein mix, and some gels. So if you want some Hammer Nutrition products, head over to hammernutrition.com, use the referral code 240887, and that'll give you 15% off your first order. I think that's it. I think I've run my mouth long enough. Brenna, let's call it.
Yes, sir, man. It's been great, and can't wait for the next one. So stay tuned, everybody, and we will be coming to you soon.
All right. Bye.